Hello, folks, and welcome to the channel. If you have not done so, please hit the subscribe button and hit that bell so you're notified. Every time I post a video, you will be updated. So today, I'm going to jump right in. I have something pretty interesting that I came across. Um, there's a bill, and every New Yorker should know about this, by the way. There's a bill being introduced. It's called A416. Right? This is a bill being introduced up for, I guess, voting, and they're trying to put it into legislative. And I will read this bill for you, and you tell me what it sounds like. You see, the title is a modern day Auschwitz, right? It's coming to New York City. So I'll read the bill for you, and you tell me when I read it to you what it sounds like. Introduced by M. of A. Perry, read once and referred to the Committee on Health. An act to amend the public health law in relation to the removal of cases, contacts, and carriers of communicable diseases who are potentially dangerous to the public health. Getting it so far. The people of the state of New York, represented in Senate and Assembly, do enact as follows. Section 1. The public health law is amended by adding a new section, 2120-A, to read as follows. Subsection 2120-A, removal and detention of cases, contacts, and carriers who are or may be a danger to public health, semicolon, other orders. What's the other orders? Could be anything, right? 1. The provisions of the section shall be utilized in the event that the governor declares a state of health emergency due to an epidemic of any communicable disease. Epidemic. Okay. So that means like people dropping dead in the streets, right? Like on that level, like you go outside and literally see people on some Z-Day type thing, right? Like just dropping, boom, boom, boom. You know, New York is heavily populated, one of the most heavily populated states in the upper 50s. So I guess that's what they're talking about. Let's see. Let's go on. 2. Upon determining by clear and convincing evidence that the health of others is or may be endangered by a case, contact, or carrier, or suspected case, contact, or carrier of a contagious disease that, in the opinion of the governor, after consultation with the commissioner, may pose an imminent and significant threat to the public health, resulting in severe morbidity or high mortality. The governor or his or her delegee, including but not limited to the commissioner or the heads of local health departments, may order the removal and or detention, that's the key word, of such a person or of a group of such persons by issuing a single order identifying such persons either by name or by a reasonably specific description of the individuals or group being detained. That's pretty broad. That's not really specific. That's pretty broad, but let's go on. Such person or group of persons shall be detained, wait for it, in a medical facility or other appropriate facility or premises designated by the governor or his or her delegee and complying with subdivision 5 of this section. A person or this is part 3 now. A person or group removed or detained by order of the governor or his or her delegee pursuant to subdivision 2 of this section. And it goes on and on and on. This thing has so much. I mean, let me just read. This is 5. A person who is detained pursuant to subdivision 2 of this section shall, as inappropriate to the circumstances, have his or her medical condition and needs assessed and addressed on a regular basis. Assessed and addressed. So what does that mean? How are they addressing your needs? It doesn't say. It says as needed. As needed by whom? Right? Because if you just, let's take a scenario, if you're just going about minding your business, um, you're not part of the experiment. You're just, going around doing your regular thing, and they decide, hey, you need to be detained. You're not sick. As far as you know, you didn't make anybody else sick. So why are they detaining you, and what are they treating exactly? You don't know. There's a lot here, but this is the point, though. Something this lengthy with that kind of language in it shouldn't even be a proposal. You're going to detain people against their will, and what happens next? Are you going to start experimenting on them? Because we all know how these things happen, right? First, there's something like this that says, oh, well, this group is considered an issue. So we're going to take this group and put them there. And then all of a sudden, the public turns a blind eye to it. Now, unless you have like family or friends that live in New York City, it might not seem like a big deal to you. Here's the problem. Most of this stuff starts in New York first before they bring it other places. That's just the fact. This is like the ultimate testing ground for these kinds of, I mean, straight up draconian rules that they're coming up with. And when I saw this, I was just like, what? This is appalling. I mean, considering that they're saying in these businesses, they have such high vaccination rates. And mind you, a lot of these businesses, there's some that have been like, you know what, we'll roll back on the mandates because we really need our employees. So they're giving more credence to the, okay, if you want to get tested weekly, then yeah, that's fine, that's good. Other businesses, if you don't get jabbed, you're fired. That's it. They don't care if it affects their workforce, none of that. Just either you do it or you're gone. I know that. I know that from experience. I know it from experience. I know it to be a fact. Even if you sign up, because they give you, um, they send you like a consent form, right? You're supposed to sign off. They started sending out these since like October, right? Way ahead of the date where you were supposed to start doing mass vaxes for your employees. So there's, all this stuff going on in the courts, and things going back and forth. They remove religious exemptions, then they put it back on. Then they have to have them reviewed by a committee or whatever the case is. So there's a period of time where they're like saying these out, like, yeah. In the meantime, do this, fill this out. Now, here's the kicker. This is for even an employee that works remotely. It is. It is. Case in point, right? So I know what I'm talking about when I say these things. So again, all you have to do is, I mean, you can Google it for yourself. It's really long to read through, but Assembly Bill A416, and you can find it. I'll tell you what link I hit. It's the first link after I typed in House Assembly Bill A416, New York City, New York. Um, www.newyorksenate.gov, right? And just read it for yourself. Like I said, this if you live in New York, you have family in New York, you know this situation. This is something that should concern you because this is on the level of some type of Guantanamo Bay type, Auschwitz type. Yeah, we're gonna separate these people and put them over here, uh, and we're gonna do whatever it is we think that we need to do for them. That is without these people's consent. And this is supposed to be a quote unquote liberal state, right? Where you allow people to express themselves however they want to. They could be whatever they want to, whatever gender, all this other stuff. They can go get abortions, blah, blah, blah. Very liberal. And yet still, you want to pass a bill like this. Anybody within the sound of my voice out there in the clouds, this pertains to you. And if this bill even passes, saying if, because I don't know if it's going to, hopefully people are still using a few brain cells in their head. It already says that we don't use much, but hopefully people are using some, and they'll see that they can't let this go forward. So I would say look it up for yourself, take a read of it. You know, just in the beginning, just starting to read it out, you'll see how crazy this is, and you will say to yourself, you know what? This is crazy. It's crazy. That's what it is. It's crazy and it's criminal. If you ask me, it's criminal to try to pass something like this. A modern day Auschwitz, people, coming to a state near you. Hopefully you liked the video. You found out something you didn't know. You were informed about something you didn't know. So please, subscribe, hit the bell so you're notified, and I'll see you next time. All right. I plan on doing another stream in a couple hours. So most likely I'll be back on. See you then.